Hey guys, it's Glenda, and in today's video I'm going to take you on a tour of my practice journal. Practice journals are really helpful ways to keep yourself organized and motivated, and I hope to give you some ideas on how you can organize your own practice journal if you think this is something that will work for you. I've been working in this notebook. This will be about my third year, so I don't go through whole notebooks very often because I'm not doing daily pages. But I do like to start out each year fresh with a Calendex for my practice log. So basically, a Calendex is used as a way to kind of reference pages later on in the notebook. For example, if you have notes from July 5th, you would write in the page number here, but that's not how I use it necessarily. I just kind of use this as an overall view of the entire year, so I have a all-in-one, at-a-glance record of how many days I've practiced in that year. So across the top I have the months, and then down the side I have the days of the month. If you have a month like February where you don't have 31 days, you can just block out the extra days at the bottom like I do here. Now in my mind, the week starts on Monday, so I mark each Monday with a line. And that just helps me find the start of my week a little easier. So if I wanted to figure out what day of the week the 26th of January was, I know the 25th is a Monday, so the 26th is a Tuesday. So that's how I organize it. So when I practice, I will just color in these boxes for the month and day, and then I get a nice record of how many days that I practiced for that month. Dr. Suzuki says we should only practice on the days that we eat. And so if you're not feeling well enough to eat, then maybe you shouldn't practice and should take some time to practice self-care and, rest. So I don't use this as like a punishment tool. I'm not really a fan of punishment, but it can be helpful to visually see how many days you practiced. Looking at that for me can be motivating. I can see, wow, maybe I need to practice a little bit more. I haven't gotten as many days as I'd like this month, and I can see that visually, which is helpful for myself. And then it inspires me to practice a little bit more. So that is my Calendex or my practice log. Next, I have a page of scales. And these are the scales that we find through Suzuki books 1 through 8. And I organize by key, and then how many octaves it has, and then which book it is in, so I can reference it really quick if I want to look it up in one of the books. So I start out the year by going through these scales, and once I go through all of these, then I'll come back and go through keys that are not on this list. But these are keys that I play in a lot, and I just want them to be under my fingers most of the time. Plus they're relevant. They're things that my students are learning and working on, so they're always under my fingers if I can get through the list. And it doesn't really take very long to get through this list for me. These are scales that I'm playing for many, many years. And then what I'll do is I might make a grid or a chart for a book of etudes that I want to work on. And then as I complete the etude, I just fill in that little square. Again, I'm really big on the visual reminder, so I can see how close I'm getting by filling in the boxes. I always have a project dump, or some people call this a brain dump, where I can list out ideas that I have. So on this side, I can write in the date when I complete the idea, or make a checkbox, and then I can list the ideas as I go. It could be a piece that I want to learn, technique stuff that I feel like I need to work on. For example, if I've watched myself in a video and I notice that I need to work on a specific technique, I can write that down here. This is just sort of a holding place for any ideas that pop up that cannot go on my goals list because I already have 3 goals to work on for that quarter. And then next I have a spot for review. So I assign 1 Suzuki book per month. So here's January through June, and then July through December. Starting in January, I try to review all the pieces in book 1, and then so on. And then for November, if there are any pieces that I had a little trouble with, in books 1 through 6, I can take a deeper dive in November, and then I can do a deeper dive in December for books 7 through 10. If nothing really stuck out, which never happens, then I can take the time to review some other repertoire that are not found in the Suzuki book. So basically what I have this for is it's just a way to list pieces that might be something I want to revisit. So in book 1, if I have trouble with Gassegevat or whatever, then I'll just write Gassegevat here, and then that reminds me to come back to it if I didn't get it done in that time frame of January. So it just keeps me organized. I don't have any pieces that kind of slip through the cracks. Next, I have my goals pages. So this is where I'll write my winter goals, and I choose 3, and I'll write the goal here and then break it down into smaller steps, and then as I complete the steps, I just check the boxes. So I have 1 for winter, 1 for spring. I haven't decorated this yet because I don't have an idea just yet. Summer and fall. Now, as far as decorating is concerned, I like to have some sort of decoration. It just, again, I am highly motivated by the visual component. So if it's functional and visually appealing, then it motivates me to open up the book and get to work for practicing. But you don't have to go all out on the decorations if you don't want to. I like to sit down and prepare my notebook for the next year all in one go. That way it's just done and I don't have to worry about it. I don't want to have to sit down and like decorate it. This is sort of in the realm of bullet journaling, but I'm not going to spend hours and hours a day on the notebook because I would never actually get the practice in. I have a repair log, so if I have any repairs done to my instrument, I can keep track of what was done and when it was done. This helps, figure out if you have any major issues. So if I keep having to have cracks glued every other month, then something needs to be fixed, or there's some other situation going on that needs to be remedied. So this is just a good way to keep track of it. So again, I have the spot for the dates. I leave 6 boxes for the month, the date, and the year, and then I can fill in on this side what was done. I also have a strings log, so whenever I change strings, I write down the date that I changed the strings and then what kind of strings I put on. So this helps if you're exploring new strings, so you don't keep buying the same set of strings that you didn't like over and over again. And I know that sounds kind of silly, but if you change your strings once every 3 months, you might forget what's on there or what you put on 6 months ago. So this helps you keep track of what's on there, and then you can write a little note about whether you liked it or not. So you can keep track of your strings here, and then again when you changed them last. So sometimes it's just hard, you remember what strings you have but you don't remember when you changed them, and I like to change mine every 3 months, every 6 weeks to every 3 months, so that's a helpful reminder. Next up, I have purchases. So if I purchase anything like a new bow, a shoulder rest, or whatever, I can keep track of it here, and the system is the same. Again, it's just helpful if you've tried a certain shoulder rest and it didn't work out, then you can keep a log of what you like and what you don't like, so you don't keep buying things over and over again that you don't like. For these, I don't necessarily start a new list every year. When I fill one up, then I'll just make another one in my book. And this is a list for books that I'd like to read. So if I come across something that I think might be interesting or useful to me, I can write down the title, and then when I finish it, I can write down the date. My project log. So this is why I don't go through the books so fast. I don't see the point in taking notes for my practice every day. I like to think of each piece as a project. So what I do instead is this. I have a 2-page spread where I will write the name of the piece here in the project spot, and then I have a spot for why. So what am I working on it for? Is it just a personal piece that I want to learn, or do I have an actual deadline? Do I need to have this together for a performance, an audition, that sort of thing? So that information can go there, and any important dates. And then I have a space for listening. So every time I listen to it, I can check off one of these boxes. And then I have spaces for fingers. So I start this, but this doesn't fit all pieces. So a piece might have more than 4 sections. So I've got A, B, C, D section kind of thing going on. And then what I can do is next to the box, I can just write A, B, C, D. And then if I have more sections then I could just start a new column here, and then so on. And that's true for this whole page. But I've got a section for fingers, intonation, rhythm, bowings, flavors. So for me, that's like articulation, tone, dynamics, vibrato, phrasing. And then I have an extra space if there's something else that I want to add in that I haven't thought about. And then metronome. So I will just write the metronome speed in each one of these little boxes as I speed things up. So I think this is more helpful than taking daily notes. If you're practicing regularly, you probably will remember what you did the day before. So it's not really necessary to take daily notes. And then also I just find it's a lot of writing during your practice time when you could just have one page and kind of keep track. So, I mean, there's really nothing extra to write. So if I'm working on the fingers in the A section and it takes me 3 days to do it, I don't need to write down that I'm working on the A section fingers for 3 days. I just write down A section, and then I check off that I'm done the A section when I'm done the A section. So. And then the last thing I have in here that I've added for 2021 is a sight reading page. So I want to, as one of my goals for this year, get back into more sight reading, especially with the orchestral repertoire, since I can't really do anything for orchestra right now, given the situation. So this is a great time for musicians to, really get in, dig deep through the orchestral repertoire, or quartet repertoire, to really get into those and work on the hard spots to keep yourself fresh and to keep your fingers nimble, I guess. And then by the time everything comes back to the normal times, then you should be pretty well squared away for your repertoire for most things that you will encounter. So if it's been a while, this is a great time to do that. And then of course I haven't played every single excerpt for the symphonic repertoire because it's a lot. So this is a great way for me to get in some sight reading practice at a higher level. Most of the sight reading that I do and most professional musicians do is way below what they're able to actually play. So this will make me think a little bit. So what I've done is just this cute little bee design where I have these spots that I'm going to fill in. So I just already filled some in. Again, I just like the visual element of it, sort of somewhat decorated. And then as I complete an excerpt, I'll just color in one of these little spots on my honeycomb. A couple other spreads from before that I wanted to share was, let's see, this one for listening. And this isn't necessarily repertoire that I'm working on, and it can be repertoire that I don't play or genres that I don't play. It's a favorite songs list. I set this up for 2020 and I just never used it. So I might use it this year, but it's just kind of fun and motivating. Like if you find a favorite song that you're listening to in that month, and there's just a nice little log of songs that you discovered during the year that you really like. Also, just a fun thing about this journaling in general is that you can make little page markers out of an envelope. You just cut off the corner and then cover it in washi tape. So, and then you can just slip it over the edge, the corner, to mark a page. Now, speaking of, again, decorating, washi tape's really great. Like I said, I don't want to spend tons of time decorating, so washi tape's a really inexpensive and quick way to add some fun to your journal. Let's see, and then I had another spot. Oh yeah, so this is my YouTube list. So if I have any ideas of videos that I want to make, I just list them here and check them off as I go. So that's in here as well. Let's see. yeah, I think that's about it as far as stuff. Wait, there was one more thing in here that I wanted to show. Where did it go? Ah, okay, so here's a kanban board that I made for memorizing. A kanban board is a board that you make with different sections or stations or steps of something that you're working on. And then on a little piece of paper, a washi tape, or like a sticky note, you can write down the name of the piece that you're working on. And then you just move the piece into these different sections as you complete it. So these are steps that I have for memorizing a piece. If it just doesn't automatically happen as you're learning the piece, sometimes we actually have to put in extra effort to memorize a piece. That's a whole nother video altogether, but these are my steps, and then I will just write the name of the piece on a little sticky note or washi tape, like I said, and then just move it into these different spaces to mark my progress on that. Yeah, great. So that's about it for my setup for 2021. Now the supplies that I'm using. This is a alternative that I found to a moleskin notebook, which would be my favorite, but the paper is not really thick enough. I mean, you can use watercolor in a moleskin, but it's a little bit thin, and it's a little bit thin for fountain pens, which I prefer to use over ballpoint. So I found this notebook. It's a Paluma, I think is how we say the brand. It's not leather, it's a vegan notebook, so you don't have to worry about that. But I have had a couple of these and I really like them. I am toying around with the idea when I finish this one up, because I don't really have much left. This might be the last year in here. Or if I just decide to switch, I will switch. But I'm considering switching to using the Hobonichi journal, so I might try that out just for regular planning this year, and then maybe do that for practice journal next year. So, but that's the first item on the list, and it comes in lots of different colors. And of course, I will link everything that I use down below in the description box. Just a quick update. A couple days after I filmed this video, I bought a Wonderland 222 planner notebook, which looks like I might actually be able to use it as my planner notebook for everything, including my practice journal. So I'll let you know how that goes and what that looks like, if that might be possible. And that still doesn't mean that I've ruled out the Hobonichi for future practice journals and planners. Next up are the Ticonderoga pencils. Love these. For the watercolors, I have this travel palette. It's the Winsor & Newton kit. I also have these Copic pencils. If you don't know what a Copic pencil is, it's sort of like a cross between like a crayon / pastel colored pencil. They're erasable. I do love my Japanese stationery, which also I use a lot of the washi tape. Speaking of fountain pens, I have this one. It's a Sailor fountain pen. It's a Japanese brand. I have a medium tip on it. That's my preferred tip, is a medium tip. And this one is my purple ink, which is the Imperial ink from Diamine. And then I have this next one. It has my green ink in it, which is the Sherwood Forest color. Again, also again Diamine. I use all Diamine inks. And this is my Waterman pen, again with a medium nib. And this is my last pen. It has my yellow ink. The color is Sunshine Yellow. I also like to use this gold gel pen. It's a Japanese, it's a Uniball, but it says made in Japan. It's really nice. It's my favorite gold pen. Let's see, it's 1mm. It's called Impact Gold. So, and then last is this pen. It's got two tips. It's got the really fine, and it has more of a a marker tip on it. Again, this is another one made in Japan. Kuretake, I think might be how you say the brand. Is the maker, and then it says Zig Memory System. So it's the archival quality ink, and it doesn't smear with water, so I can use the watercolor over it, and this is a brown color. So alright guys, I hope you enjoyed that video of my practice journal. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'm going to list all of the supplies that I use down below in the description box if you want to check it out. Thanks for watching!